What if your slow cooker could handle breakfast, dinner, and all the things in between? Stick around for 5 recipes that prove it can. Tonight we're gonna have some awesome tacos. I'm gonna make my own teriyaki sauce. There's some really good teriyaki sauces on the market. Don't feel like you have to make yours. Just skip ahead about a minute and a half or so if you just wanna buy a teriyaki sauce, that's totally fine. Primal Kitchen has a great option if you're looking for that. I'm gonna make mine up, so some of you are probably curious how easy it is to make a teriyaki. So here we go. Now I'm gonna be using my microwave. So I have here about a half a cup of water in this measuring cup, and I'm gonna add some brown sugar. We're doing about 2.5 tablespoons of brown sugar. I'm only making enough teriyaki sauce for this recipe. I don't need any leftovers. I actually don't really want to store it or keep it because I don't know the next time that I would be using it. But if this is something that you feel like you might use again in the next, I don't know, 9 to 10 days or so, or you want to make it and freeze it up so you don't have to make it again, go ahead and do that. Okay, about 1 ounce of soy sauce. You guys know we use the no soy sauce by Halos, or we use coconut aminos. Both of those are great options. So about 1 ounce is gonna be like a couple tablespoons, 1/8 cup-ish. Adding a tablespoon of honey. And if you've probably noticed, teriyaki is a little sweeter. I like to add ginger to mine, so I just use this ginger paste because it's so convenient and easy. You really only need like a half teaspoon, but I always go a little heavier because I like ginger so much. And then I'm going to mince a garlic clove and add that in as well. Now I just mix that together. And I actually think I'm gonna add a little more of the soy sauce. Now I'm gonna put this in the microwave and let the ingredients get nice and warm. While that's in there, I'll make my slurry that we can add in that's gonna help it to thicken up. Everything that's in this right now is cold. The water was cold and the soy sauce was in the refrigerator. So I think I'm gonna start at 30 seconds with this and see where that lands us. And while that's in there, we can make our little slurry here. I'm using tapioca flour instead of cornstarch, but it's totally fine to just use cornstarch. This is just our preference. Just about a tablespoon. Do about a tablespoon of water as well. Mix that together. Maybe a little less than a tablespoon on the water. So we got our little slurry there. Let me check this. I'm gonna stir it and probably go another 30 seconds. Okay. Now that this is nice and heated through, you can see it steaming. That's what we wanna see. I'm gonna add in the slurry and then we will microwave again, probably about 30-second increments, and this is gonna start to thicken up pretty quickly. It doesn't have to be all the way thick, but you know, you want it to be a nice sauce. Okay, so let's do a 30-second increments and check. Okay, that was 30 seconds. I already can see that it is much thicker than what it was. I think 30 was plenty. Okay, set that to the side and we can get started on the rest of this. All right, friends, I am using chicken thighs, but if you've been here for a bit, you know I have to cut off the fat. I can't handle it. It's so gross to me. Once I cut off the fat, it'll go directly into the crock pot there. And I think I'm gonna use 4 chicken thighs. It's about a pound. Now we've got the chicken into the crock pot and I am gonna salt it. Give it a nice sprinkle. The recipe calls for you to use some sweet chili sauce. I'm not gonna be using that today. You can make it up if you want. You can buy it in the store. I've bought it several times, actually at Harris Teeter and also Trader Joe's. I've purchased it there. We don't have any, and honestly, this recipe requires about 2 tablespoons, but I have most of the ingredients that go in sweet chili sauce, so that's what I'm gonna go with. I am gonna add some red pepper flakes, which is in that sweet chili sauce. You really only need a touch, okay? So a very light touch there. That's like an 1/8 teaspoon. Paprika is one of the ingredients. Let's go with like 1/2 to a full teaspoon. All right, in addition to that, I'm gonna add a touch of rice vinegar. If you don't have rice vinegar, that's okay. Just use regular vinegar. Like a tablespoon. Now we take about half a little more than half actually, of that teriyaki sauce and just pour all over. We're gonna reserve some of this though, because we're gonna shred this after it's done cooking and mix in more teriyaki. So I don't wanna use all of it. I'm probably using about a 1/3 cup now, and I'll reserve about a 1/4 cup or so. So yeah, that's about a 1/4 cup that we have left. So I'll pop that in the refrigerator. I'm gonna cook this on low. Chicken thighs take a little bit longer, so probably closer to 4 hours. It is currently 12:24, which will be the perfect timing, because then we'll come back and we'll shred this. I'll add in the rest of the teriyaki, fix all the other stuff that goes along with this, and we're gonna have the best looking tacos ever, and tasting. Not just looking, but also tasting. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and prep the cucumber for later, because we're gonna make a creamy cucumber that's gonna go with this. I'm gonna slice this. You can use your mandolin slicer if you want. I'm just gonna use my knife here. Sometimes I find it therapeutic. Those might be a little thick. Let me go thinner on these. That's where the mandolin slicer really helps. So there are a couple different ways you can go about these cucumbers. If I'm doing this early enough in the day, which I am, it's 12:20, 12:25, so I have plenty of time. I'll just slice these up and put a paper towel underneath them and just let the water drain out. If you have less time, you wanna sprinkle with a little bit of salt, and that's gonna help the water release from these. You can skip that step if you really want to, and I have done that before. However, if you skip this step of getting the water out of the cucumbers, they're not gonna really last to the next day. So, if you plan on eating all of these with your dinner tonight, it's probably okay to skip it. But if you think you're gonna have leftovers, they're gonna be super watery tomorrow. I might just do a tad bit of salt since I have it here. Just a little sprinkle. Fold this over like so, and start adding some more. And that's just gonna help the water absorb onto the paper towel. I'll put these in the fridge, and then in a little bit, I'll come back. That will make the creamy cucumbers that are gonna go along with this. All right, let's finish up this meal. I'm going to take this paper towel out because it is definitely wet from those cucumbers. Let's add 1 green onion. So I just went and got this off the garden real quick. And I'm going to put in some cilantro. Maybe like a tablespoon or so. It really just depends on how much you like cilantro. If you don't like it at all, just leave this out. It's really just adding in herbs. Add parsley or mint or something like that if you're not a cilantro fan. Now about a 1/4 cup of Greek yogurt. Ours is a non-fat Greek yogurt. I'm gonna add only about a tablespoon of mayonnaise, maybe a tablespoon and a half. Let's go for 2. Let's just make it 2. Why not? About 2 teaspoons of rice vinegar. I'm gonna toss in ever so a slight amount of crushed red pepper, just the tiniest bit, like an 1/8 teaspoon. A little bit of ginger, because I really like the ginger flavor. Some chili onion crunch. This is about a teaspoon. You can buy this or you can make it. I bought mine because really convenient. Okay, so about a teaspoon. That might be a little much if you're sensitive to spice. This does have a bit of spice in it. Toss in some sesame seeds, and then I do think this is gonna need, this is maybe a teaspoon or so, but I do think this is gonna need a little bit of sweetness, so I might end up adding a touch of honey. You could add sugar too if that's your preference, but we'll taste it and kind of see where we are. I think I need a touch of salt, but other than that, it's good. I can see where some of the sweet chili sauce would add a different element of flavor, but I like this, and I think we're gonna get plenty of sweetness with the teriyaki sauce on the chicken. So I'm gonna keep this just like it is. All right, I'm gonna pop this in the refrigerator so that we can finish up the chicken. This is perfect. So we'll finish up the chicken, slice up the avocado. I need to crush up some peanuts, get the tortillas ready, and we're good to go. Okay, so in my crock pot here, I've got the chicken. I'm just gonna take 2 forks and shred it, which honestly takes little to no effort. It doesn't look like a lot of meat, but this is all that we need. So, obviously make whatever amount you need for your family. All right, so this is what we've got. There's still a little bit of liquid there at the bottom. My suggestion is if you have a lot of liquid in your crock pot, you should, I personally would dump it, okay? If you're gonna make rice or something like that, you can dump it into the rice and make a really flavorful rice. But I think it's better because it makes the chicken less saucy and more watery if you don't eliminate that. We do need to take the rest of the teriyaki and pour that all over the top. This is what's gonna help it be saucy, not watery, because we didn't cook it and all of it, we're adding it now. I'm gonna put this back into my crock pot, just leave it on keep warm until we're ready. We're close to being ready, but I wanna make sure it stays nice and hot. Let's slice up some avocado. I'm gonna want that, oh, hello. Haven't had that happen before. Just into slices. And these will go with the tacos. For the top, okay, just crushing up some peanuts so that those can go on the top of the tacos. So I've got my tortillas, like so. I'm gonna take some avocado, and that can go at the bottom-ish. Okay, get some of our chicken. Add some of the cucumber. I also put a little bit of paprika on mine. I think tahini would be really delicious. If I had some, I would 100% do that. Chili powder, just adding a little bit of that color on the top too, so good. Take some of those chopped peanuts and top each one. And there you go. Beautiful tacos, no stove, no oven, amazing dinner, ready to go. I already dropped some on my shirt, so that was cool.
Par for the course.
All right, so crock pot, teriyaki chicken, and this creamy, I have no words. Cucumber, goodness.
Oh,
avocado
yeah.
at the bottom.
So good.
Yeah.
It's very good. You could serve that completely cold.
Oh yeah.
Like you could cook the chicken in the crock pot, put it in the fridge, and put it all in there as a cold taco.
Almost like a wrap.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very good. I'm gonna hit mine with Cholula, but it's very good.
Yeah, I actually want more cucumber on this because I want that crunch.
That crunch and whatever that creamy stuff is.
Yeah, the dressing that I have on here too.
So it gives it a bit of a sweet taste, not too sweet.
Because of the teriyaki.
Is that what it is?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. The teriyaki chicken.
Yeah. So that's why I do Cholula anyway, but it's gonna help with that as well.
Yeah.
If you wanna. To me, if you want to level up on that sweetness or cut it some, you'd put some lime in it, infuse lime in that cream stuff. Yep. And I think that would do the trick.
Yeah, I actually was gonna serve this with lime on the side. Yeah. I pulled it out and then I was like, I wonder if I need lime for a recipe tomorrow. So I didn't serve it, but I really like this, and I do think because the cucumber is more of a savory, it balances out the sweetness of that teriyaki chicken. But yeah, this was super easy to make, honestly, and y'all could make it even easier by just buying your own teriyaki. You saw that I made it, but that's no surprise to any of you here because that's how we do things. It tastes very refreshing. Yes. It's not like overpowering or heavy or anything like that. It's a good one. It is currently 9:30 and I'm gonna get this into the crock pot because it takes 8 to 10 hours for this pork shoulder, pork butt thing to cook. So I'm starting by just cutting up some white onion that we're gonna put at the bottom of the crock pot. That should be enough. And we're just gonna break this apart and just put it here. It's just creating a nice base layer for this pork to sit on. And I think I'm actually gonna do a little bit more. So that's what I've got there at the bottom, a nice layer of onion. This is a boneless Boston butt. I picked this up at the Fresh Market because it was actually on sale. It was one of their like daily deals or whatever that they were doing. This is gonna get a really, really nice coat of salt and pepper, and then I'm also gonna add some of this Italian herb seasoning from this grinder all over. I mean, you need to like well season, over season. Now, I am not gonna be adding my barbecue sauce now. I'm gonna wait until this has been cooking for a little while. I feel like because of the liquid that a meat like this produces, if you add it now, the barbecue sauce just gets watery, so we're gonna wait. We'll make that up in a little bit and then end up adding it. Oh, also, if you don't want this to cook all day long, if you need less time, you can also make this in the Instant Pot. If you are going to work or something like that, I highly suggest that you just throw it in there before you leave. That's probably the best way to do it if you're doing it in the crock pot. Let's go into the crock pot here. I do personally think that in the crock pot or the Instant Pot is a fantastic way to make a Boston butt, any type of pork roast like this. A smoker is another great way, but I know a lot of people don't have a smoker. At this point, I'm gonna add in some apple cider vinegar, and that's really just gonna go around the bottom, adding some liquid into the crock pot here, and then we'll be able to cook this on low for 8 to 10 hours until it just falls apart. I'll probably come back in around probably like 5 to 6 hours and check it and see, all right, is it time to add in the barbecue sauce? Oh, but with that said, you can absolutely add in the barbecue sauce now. I'm just choosing to wait. I would just say don't add in all of it now, add in some of it so it gets that flavor while it's cooking, but then save some so that you can, when you pull the meat out, you're mixing the barbecue sauce with the meat and getting that barbecue flavor with that thick sauce. Okay, this is probably like a 1/4 cup or so. I'm also gonna throw in a few garlic cloves. That's 4. All right, lid on, cook on low, 8 to 10 hours. We'll be back after I've been outside working and doing all the things. I'm gonna make my own barbecue sauce. Obviously, this is completely unnecessary. Feel free to just buy whatever your favorite one is, but this is something I've been working on for a little while, is making barbecue sauce. And so we've kind of found some things we love. I'm still tweaking it a bit, but this is what we have so far for the recipe. I know a lot of barbecue sauce recipes call for ketchup. We actually rarely have ketchup in our house, which is why I'm not using that, but that is 100% something that you could do. So that is 6 ounces of tomato paste. So to this, I'm gonna add in between 3/4 and 1 full cup of water. I like to add brown sugar to mine, about a 1/4 cup, maybe a touch more. Depends on how sweet you want your barbecue sauce to be. Some apple cider vinegar in between 2 and 3 tablespoons, just really depending on how vinegary you want yours to be. 2 tablespoons of molasses. You could sub out and use like maple syrup or even honey if that's what you want. This is just, it's a little bit more of like a smoky kind of flavor, I guess you could say. About a tablespoon of Worcestershire. We're gonna add some yellow mustard seed powder, but if you don't have this, you can use Dijon or a brown mustard instead, like the actual mustard that's already made up. So I'm gonna do around a teaspoon, maybe a touch less, maybe more like 3/4 of a teaspoon. About a 1/2 teaspoon of paprika, and I don't measure, y'all, just because I've done this several times. Some onion powder, again, about a 1/2 teaspoon of that as well. About a 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder. Crushed red pepper flakes if you want to add a touch of heat to yours. So literally like 1/8 of a teaspoon. It doesn't need to be much at all. And toss in some salt. About a 1/2 or so teaspoon of that. Now just looking at it, I can tell it needs a little more molasses. So I'm gonna go for that. And you know what? Let's just pop this into the microwave for a minute so that the brown sugar might dissolve. I'll start with 30 seconds and go from there. While that's in there, I wanna show you something about the pork. So this is what I was talking about. Do you see how much liquid it makes? Well, if you're putting the barbecue sauce in there originally when you're cooking it, then your barbecue sauce is gonna get very watery. And I don't want that. I want mine to be a nice, thick barbecue sauce. So here we are. It's been in there for about 6 or so hours, maybe 7 hours. And I'm gonna pull a lot of this liquid out so that we can add in the sauce. Let's see where we are on a tenderness scale. Oh yeah, we still need more time here for sure. It's not falling apart at all. Well, at the bottom it is, but it definitely needs more time. I actually might crank it up to high at this point because I do think it needs some more time. But before that, let's go ahead and pour some barbecue sauce all over and just let that kind of be working. And then the rest of it, I'm gonna put into the fridge because when this is done and we pull the barbecue apart, like we pull the meat and make it pulled pork, I'll probably add in some more as well. Okay, go back into the crock pot, crank it up to high and let it go. I am gonna be making rice to go with this meal, but before I do that, while the pork is still cooking, because it's 4 o'clock right now, so we still got time, I'm gonna go ahead and make up the slaw that goes with it. And actually the other night I made pickles. So I think that's in a previous video though. If it is, I'll have it linked. Take a bag of slaw and just pop that into a bowl. I'll probably end up adding green onions. I need to check and see how those look on the garden, but we do need to add some cilantro. If you don't like cilantro, just skip this. It'll be totally fine. About a 1/4 cup of chopped cilantro. I've got some stems there. Let me get those out. About 3 tablespoons of lime juice. Add about a tablespoon of avocado oil. You can use olive oil instead if that's your preference. About a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar. Add a touch of sweetness with honey, so just about 2 teaspoons. Cumin, I'm gonna go with close to a 1/2 teaspoon, maybe even up to a full teaspoon, but that's because we like cumin so much. So if you're not as much of a fan as we are, then maybe go less on this one, for goodness sakes. Okay, oh, that's like a 1.5 teaspoons. Good thing we like it. I am gonna add a touch of cayenne, just a touch, like a 1/4 teaspoon, closer to even maybe an 1/8 teaspoon, and then hit it with a bit of salt, about a 1/2 teaspoon there. Okay, let's toss that. Like I said, I'll probably go in with some green onion. I just need to check and see. I think I have some on the garden. Let me check. I did. All right, so this is a very simple slaw, but with all of the other ingredients in this bowl, you don't want this. I mean, you want it to enhance the meal, but you don't want it to be the standout of the meal. Really, the pork is what you want to be that standout. That's good flavor. Into the fridge until we're ready for dinner. I'm gonna go ahead and get the rice kind of in the bowl so that once we're ready, I can just click the button and the rice can be cooking. But other than that, we're looking good. Okay, the rice is almost done. Take this out. I know that it's done. And this bowl is definitely too big for this. Actually, all right, in here, these bear claw things, they will take this apart so fast. Now I'm gonna pour some more of that barbecue sauce all over the top and just mix it in. I did save a little bit to the side because if anybody wants to put more on their bowl, it'll be available. Let me just, that is so good. That's delicious. So this is the bowl assembly. Start with a base of rice, however much you want. We're gonna add coleslaw, add in some pork. Now I'm gonna add these pickles on mine. These are homemade, but obviously you don't have to make homemade pickles. Then I'm gonna drizzle with a little bit more of the barbecue sauce. Top with cilantro for that pop of green. And there we go. Dinner is served. barbecue, pork, rice bowls, coleslaw, pickles, all the good stuff. There's a lot of meat left, which is awesome
Yes.
because it is really good. You guys just saw me taste that a minute ago.
It's unique. It's an odd assortment of flavors.
Right.
Especially with the pickle.
Oh, I didn't even get it with the pickle.
Yeah. It's like the cilantro and the pickle. It's odd, but it's yummy. Like I would want each element in each bite.
I like the fact that I like all the different textures for sure. The crunchiness of the slaw with the pork and the rice. To me, all these flavors don't seem like they would work together, but they absolutely do work together. Yeah. It's really interesting and really good. I definitely like this one. Like
I think it's delicious.
I'm excited that we have leftovers because for lunch tomorrow, this is gonna be amazing. Yes. And we'll leave them all separate and just assemble the bowls for lunch. But this is really good.
Did you do the pickle that time?
It's even better
good, right?
With the pickle.
Yeah.
That is very good, y'all. You get all the different flavors here because the sweetness of that barbecue sauce is balanced by the acidity of the pickles. You've got some acidity in that coleslaw and just the different textures. This is very, very good.
I agree.
I love making side dishes in my crock pot because then at night for dinner, all I have to worry about is the main part of the dish, that protein that's gonna go along with the rest of this dish. We are making a twice baked potato casserole that's gonna go with our dinner tonight. We have these beautiful looking steaks and it's gonna be delicious, but this would go with anything. I mean, chicken, pork loin, steaks like we're having, you name it, this is gonna be an awesome side. Also, there are a lot of different ways to go about this. I'm gonna show you the way that I'm doing it, but if you would like to make this even faster, so if you only have about 2.5 hours and you need to get this ready to go, you can actually bake your potatoes first, then put everything in the crock pot. I'm not gonna worry about that because I'm starting this early enough that I've got plenty of time to make it happen. So in my case, the first thing I'm gonna do is just add potatoes here into my crock pot. And you want about 3 pounds or so. It really all depends on how much you need to make. If you would like to cut this in half, you could double or triple, whatever you prefer. You guys know I say that all the time, make what you need for your family. Also, use whatever kind of potatoes you love because this would be delicious with red potatoes, russet potatoes. I've got these Yukon Gold. Now, I don't know if this is completely necessary, but we are going to add a little bit of oil. This is what I do. You don't have to do this if you don't want. And then I do like to sprinkle with a little bit of salt. We'll be adding some more salt later, but I just like the idea of cooking it in a little bit of salt. I'm gonna add the slightest touch of bone broth. You can add just about like a couple of tablespoons of water or broth, whatever you like. It just helps with the steaming function just a little bit. You don't even have to add it, but I do find that it helps them to tender up just a little bit quicker. Now, we are going to cook these for about 3 hours on high. You can do this a couple of different ways. You can pull these out and you can cube them and then put them back in here, or you can do them the way I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna take my potato masher and I'm not even mashing them all the way. I just want them to be lightly mashed. Very easy to do because these have been in here for as long as they have. Okay. I'm gonna take about half of the potatoes out and just put them in this bowl because we're gonna create layers. So I'm just grabbing my spoon here. Chop that one up a little bit, didn't get all the way mashed. All right, so roughly half of the potatoes are now in this bowl. For this bottom layer here, I'm going to take some Greek yogurt. You can obviously use sour cream in place of Greek yogurt. That's totally fine. We're probably gonna end up using quite a bit of this. And let's just take some of this and top the potatoes that are in here, kind of creating another layer. You can mix it all together if you want. I'm gonna avoid the sides of the crock pot a bit just because I feel like the sour cream is probably, or the Greek yogurt, has more of a tendency to burn, but it's totally fine. Just spreading a whole layer over the top. I did not avoid the side with that spoonful. We also need to add a little bit of salt and pepper. Forgot to do that. Each layer you do wanna add a little bit of salt and pepper, just to make sure you bring out the really good flavor of those potatoes. Now, You guys know I always have pre-cooked bacon in our house because we just love having bacon ready and available. So I'm gonna take these pieces. I've got about 3 here, which is perfect. And we're going to just cut this into pieces. Cut it into whatever size pieces you want. I'm gonna chop mine up decently small. This is a nice thick cut bacon, which is perfect for a recipe like this. This was the perfect day to have something made in the crock pot because I had a bunch of meetings that I needed to be on today. So now the meetings are over and dinner should be in, it's 4:30 right now. So dinner will be anywhere from an hour and a half to 2 hours away. And this is gonna be ready to go with the steaks. When my husband gets home, he'll make the steaks. It's gonna be so good. Now let's take some of that bacon and we're gonna add about half of it to this layer. So just sprinkling over the top here. I've got some, this is cheddar cheese. I've got some cheddar here. And then my mom left this here. She shredded this while she was here. And I'm pretty sure it's like a Colby or something. We're gonna use that one too. So let's just add a layer of cheese. Now I think for the next layer here, I'm gonna go ahead and add my sour cream into the potatoes and just mix it all together. There's no reason not to. If you wanna just dump it all in the crock pot and do it in layers in there, that's fine too. But this just seems convenient and easy to go ahead and mix it together while I'm here and then create another layer on top. Oh, and salt and pepper. Let me know in the comments as I'm doing this. Well, first of all, I wanna know, do you guys ever make sides in your crock pot, or do you normally think of your crock pot as a main dish way of making main dishes? Okay, let's create a layer with this. Probably a lot more casserole than my family of 4 needs, but I guess we'll just eat on it for the next couple of days. Now I'm gonna add some more cheese. And also this crock pot has been through like every stage of life with me. I think I got it either right before college or right after college. And I mean, this has been through, I'm pretty sure it was actually right before college. It's been through the single years, the college years, the early marriage years. Man, I made so many meals in the crock pot in our first couple of years of marriage because we were both working outside of the home, and we would come home to dinner every night made in the crock pot. And I'm not exaggerating when I say probably 5 times a week. Let's just add all of this cheese. So we've got our layer. Let's add the rest of the bacon onto the top. I also have a newer crock pot, but there's just something about this. The newer crock pot is programmable. It will shut off at a certain time. Nope, not this one. You got a turn dial. But there's something about this one. It's just nostalgic. It's easy to use. I love a turn dial. So we have all this in here. I'm actually gonna change it to low, put the lid on. And really what we're looking for here is the cheese to melt and everything to just work together. Everything's cooked in here now, but that's where we are. We're gonna come back in about an hour, hour and a half or so, top this with some green onion. I'll make sure the cheese is nice and melty and ready to go. While he's cutting up the steaks, I'm going to add in some green onion to our casserole here, or just on the top. Adds a really pretty color. We also had some leftover green beans from the other night, so I'm going to use those. Let's try the casserole. That's really good. It definitely tastes like a twice baked potato. Really, really good flavor. This would be a great Thanksgiving side dish too, especially if you want to have something cooking in your crock pot. You can make even a bigger crock pot version, but then you don't even have to worry about making a potato and worrying about it being in the oven and trying to take it out in time. This would be a really good option for that, but the flavors are delicious. Whenever we do appetizers, I'm always trying to make sure that we have some sort of protein. As an appetizer night, it's obviously gonna be a lot of carbs, probably a lot of fat, but I do try and make something that's heavy on protein. And tonight we're doing some crock pot kielbasa. This recipe couldn't be easier. If you've never cooked ever a day in your life, you've never made a recipe ever, you can make this one. Okay, we are starting off with these kielbasa, and I'm just gonna cut them into the just kind of like bite-sized, toothpick-sized pieces. It can be whatever size you want them to be. I cut them at an angle because I think it makes them look a little prettier, but it doesn't matter. You can cut them however you want. We're gonna cut them into pieces and then just transfer them over to our crock pot. Now, I only used 1 packet of kielbasa. It is I think it was actually a Polish sausage, but it's already fully cooked. We're going to mix in about a 1/2 cup of chili sauce. You can buy this or you can make it. I use a sweet Thai chili sauce. I really like this one. And then I'm also gonna mix in a 1/2 cup of barbecue sauce, and you just mix it all together. You can cook this on low for 3 hours. You can cook it on high for 1.5 to 2 hours. However long you have. I mean, honestly, these are already cooked, so it's really just getting everything to work together. It's so simple and easy. Y'all, I'm telling you, it is the easiest recipe you can make. I fully expect these to be super hot. Also, I had to top them with a little bit of thyme. I just needed some green on the top. I needed additional color. Everything's just red or brown here. So let's give these a taste. So good. They've been cooking the perfect amount of time, in my opinion. They're not overdone. They've been cooking on low for maybe like 3.5 hours. Very good. Good flavor. Not spicy at all, but like really good smoky flavor. That's delicious. You know, you have the little hot dog things that you make these, but these are a bigger version, and I think these are delicious. They look a little more elevated, in my opinion. Very, very simple difference, but very good. The crock pot does not just have to be for dinner. You can make stuff the night before, let it cook throughout the night, and wake up to a wonderful breakfast. And we're gonna do just that in this recipe. We are making a crock pot breakfast casserole. I'm changing up what might traditionally be done just because, you know, we do things a little bit different here in our household with the ingredients that we use and the food that we eat. All right, let's get this started. The first thing that I need to do is get my heat on. And in this pan, we're going to cook up some breakfast sausage. I have a pound of sausage here. We're cooking the whole thing up. I'm gonna be using half of it for this recipe and half for another recipe. While the sausage cooks, let's get our potatoes shredded. Now, you can use a bag of frozen hash browns if you want to. I always have potatoes on hand. I pretty much never have the frozen potatoes ready to go. So this is an easy thing for me to do. Just pull out the potatoes and shred them with this cheese grater, which makes things so easy. You can blanch them if you want to. I never do, and I never have an issue. Before we put this away, I'm also gonna shred up some cheese. This is cheddar. So feel free to use whatever kind you like, and obviously you can buy it pre-shredded as well. All right, awesome. So that's shredded and ready to go. Now we can clean all this up and put this thing away. This can go in the dishwasher. And the next step is to mix together. We're doing 6 eggs because we are doing a half recipe. If you're going with the full recipe, then you're gonna do 12. So I'm just gonna put them all here in this bowl. Let's add about a 1/4 cup of milk. If you want great richness, add heavy cream instead of milk. We need to add a pinch of salt, pepper, and then you can add whatever other spices you like. Add in a little bit of onion powder if that's what you like, garlic powder. You can add Italian seasoning in there. Add all the flavors you love. All right, we're ready to assemble. All right, first things first, spray your crock pot. Let's add in those potatoes. So I cooked the sausage and then I just put it on this paper towel lined plate just so it would soak up any of the extra grease. We're gonna add half of it into here. If you're making the full recipe, you add in the full pound, but we're gonna use the other half for a different recipe. So let's just add in half right on top of the potatoes. I wanna kind of spread it out, make sure it gets all around here. Looks good, nice layer. Okay. Take the egg mixture and that's gonna go all over the top, just like you would if you were making any other standard breakfast casserole. And then we're gonna top this with about a cup of cheddar cheese. Also keep in mind though that if you like a different kind of cheese better, feel free to use that. I would say use whatever you like. As far as cooking this goes, there's a couple different ways that you can go about it. A lot of it depends on the newness of your crock pot. This is either going to cook on high for 3 to 4 hours or low for 7 to 8 hours. So you wanna judge what time do you get up, what time do you eat breakfast after you get up. Maybe you're waking up significantly earlier than the kids, so that's fine to cook this on high for 3 hours. If you have one of the newer crock pots, which I have a turn dial here, you've got keep warm, low, and high, and those are your only options. So, but if you have one that you can set, or maybe it's Bluetooth enabled, or you have a delay function, you could delay it to a certain time, then cook it on low for 7 to 8 hours. Or maybe you have one of the ones that will cook to 7 to 8 hours or even 3 to 4 hours on high, and then it'll go to a keep warm function. So it's up to you, obviously, depending on your crock pot and how you're gonna do that. I've opted for the low version, so we're gonna cook this on low for 7 to 8 hours. This went from about 11 p.m., maybe 10:45 to 6:15-ish this morning. Let's see how it looks. From what I can tell, this looks perfectly cooked. Let's try a bite. That's really good. It's got great flavor. It is perfectly cooked. It doesn't feel like it's been overdone. The eggs are definitely not underdone. This was so easy, guys. I mean, we woke up to a hot breakfast. That's amazing. Our verse today comes from Psalm 73:26. My flesh and my heart may fail, but God is the strength of my heart and my portion forever. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Next, you gotta check out the one that I have listed above though, because it is delicious. It's a winner in our book, and I feel like you're gonna love it too. Hope you're having a great week.